Champions League, how the Premier League can get 5 places. The Champions League will take on a whole new look next season with more teams and a brand new format. 4 more clubs will take part in the group stage, with 36 competing, and the 2 best performing leagues in Europe this season will each get 1 extra place for 2024-25. What are chances of the English Premier League getting one of those extra places? And how will that affect the rest of the division? We break down how the Champions League will work from 2024-25 and why it's important this season. The 2023-24 UCL Group Stage draw, the last of the old format, takes place at 5 p.m. UK/midday ET on Thursday. Who gets the 4 extra UCL places? 2 places will go to the best performing leagues in Europe in this current season. The place goes to the next team in the league, which has not automatically qualified. Last season, that would have been Liverpool and Atlanta. These places are most likely go to clubs from the top leagues. 1 place will go to the 3rd place team in the league ranked 5th in the UEFA coefficient. This is effectively the average performance of all its clubs in Europe. Last season that was France, so Marseille would have gone direct to the UCL group phase, with Stade Rennais promoted from the Europa League into UCL qualifying. However, the Netherlands overtook France into 5th at the start of this season. So the Eredivisie could get the extra place for the 2024-25 domestic season. 1 place will go to the qualifying path for champions. 4 teams used to come through this route into the league phase. But from next season it will be 5. The place cannot go to a team from the top 10 leagues as their champions do not go through qualifying. How many Premier League clubs will qualify for the Champions League? Like in recent seasons, England's top 4 teams will qualify automatically for the Champions League group stage automatically. The same applies to Spain's La Liga, Germany's Bundesliga, and Italy's Serie A. How can 5 teams qualify for the Champions League? The 2 leagues that have the best coefficients this season will get an extra place in the UCL group stage next season. If England is in the top 2, 5th in the Premier League will qualify for the Champions League. Individual club coefficient isn't relevant, it goes to the next team in the domestic table. The good news for the Premier League is it has been in the top 2 in 6 of the past 7 seasons. 2016-17, Spain and England. 2017-18, England and Spain. 2018-19, England and Spain. 2019-20, Spain and Germany. 2020-21, England and Spain. 2021-22, England and the Netherlands. 2022-23, England and Italy. In 2019-20, Germany pipped England to 2nd place by just 1 victory. So the Premier League is pretty much nailed on for 5 UCL places? English clubs have been dominant and have comfortably been in the top 2 leagues in the past 3 seasons. It's looking good, but there's a twist. The Premier League will have 8 clubs in Europe this season, as West Ham United won the UEFA Europa Conference League and didn't qualify for Europe domestically. It means every win by an English club will be worth slightly less to the coefficient score because it's an average of 8 clubs rather than 7. The last time England had 8 clubs in Europe. In 2015-16, it only finished 3rd in the season's coefficient ranking, though both Southampton and West Ham failed to make it through the qualifying rounds. This season, all 8 teams will take part in the group stages of one of the 3 competitions, with Aston Villa effectively through Europa Conference League qualifying, having won 5-0 at Hibernian in the first leg of the playoff round. England's place could be further strengthened this week, as other leagues may not have a full complement of teams in the group stage. From last week's first legs, La Liga side Osasuna lost at home to Belgium's Club Brugge. The Bundesliga's Eintracht Frankfurt drew at Bulgarian side Levski Sofia, and Serie A's Fiorentina were beaten at Austria's Rapid Vienna. On only 2 occasions in the past 8 seasons has a league finished in the top 2 coefficient places without a full set of teams in the group stage, both times being the Premier League. 2018-19 Burnley did not qualify. 2015-16 West Ham did not qualify. All things considered, it would take a very poor season for the Premier League not to get 5 places. Brighton Hove Albion and Villa, along with Newcastle United, who could be handed a difficult Champions League group, would have to struggle badly to put England's 5th spot in serious doubt. When will we find out who gets the extra places? In many seasons it may be obvious in March, once we know which leagues have teams through to the quarterfinals of the 3 European competitions. However, the 2019-20 season shows that it can go right down to the wire. Germany didn't overtake the Premier League for second place until Bayern Munich beat Paris Saint-Germain 1-0 in the final of the Champions League. If that's repeated this season, we wouldn't know which league gets the second additional spot until the UCL final takes place June 1st. It would leave 2 clubs in the domestic leagues praying for the right result in the final. In 2019-20, Bayer Leverkusen and Leicester City finished 5th in Germany and England respectively. Leverkusen would have needed Bayern to win the UCL final to get the place, while Leicester required Bayern to lose the match. We could also hypothetically see a situation where, for instance, Arsenal winning the Champions League could hand 5th place Tottenham Hotspur a place in the Champions League. What happens to the other European places in the Premier League? The 2 Champions League places for performance this season are an extra place on top of what they are awarded by right for the associations. The Premier League would have 8 teams in Europe. The top 5 would go into the UCL, with 6th into the Europa League along with the FA Cup winners. The Carabao Cup winners would get a place in the Conference League. If the domestic cup winners qualify for Europe, the places transfer to the league. It would therefore be possible for 8th in the league to get a spot in Europe. What's the maximum number of places the Premier League can have in the UCL? Under the old system, a maximum of 5 clubs from one association could play in the Champions League. It meant that in the unlikely event teams from the same league won the Champions League and Europa League, yet both finished outside the UCL places domestically, then 4th would have to surrender their place and drop into the UEL. It's now possible that 7 Premier League teams could earn a place in the UCL, the top 5, and the winners of the UCL and the UEL. It would also technically be possible to have 11 Premier League teams in Europe, the usual allocation of 7, plus the extra Champions League place and the title holders of all 3 European competitions if they finished outside a European position. UEFA has yet to take a decision on a maximum number for either. Sources have told ESPN that the UEFA Exco meeting in the first quarter of 2024 is likely to finalize these numbers, and if there is a limit, how it would affect other clubs from that league. What's going to be different about the Champions League? From next season, 36 clubs will take part in the Champions League and they will all be in one big league table. The old current format saw 32 clubs divided into 8 groups of 4 teams. There will still be a draw at start of the season, but only to create the league phase fixtures, 8 games for each club, 4 at home and 4 away. The 36 teams will be divided into 4 pots of 9. Pot 1 will have the title holders of the UCL and the 8 clubs with the best coefficients. The champions of the top domestic leagues and the UEL title holders will no longer be prioritized for Pot 1. Pots 2 to 4 are ordered on club coefficient. Each club will be drawn to play 2 teams from each pot, 1 home, 1 away. So, unlike in the current format, a club in Pot 1 will play a game against 2 other clubs from Pot 1. As a general rule, clubs from the same association will not be drawn against each other. However, to avoid deadlocking, the leagues with 4 or more clubs could play 1 match against another team from the same country. From the final table, the top 8 go direct to the round of 16. Positions 9 to 24 will enter a playoff to earn the other 8 places in the round of 16. Positions 25 to 36 are eliminated from Europe. There is no country protection in any of the knockout rounds. Unlike in previous seasons, there is no drop-down of teams from the Champions League to the Europa League after the league phase. Once eliminated, your European season is over. There will be only one knockout round draw for the round of 16 onwards, with teams seeded based upon their final league phase position and no country protection. It means it's important where you finish in the table. The higher you are, the more favorable knockout route you will have on paper at least. The Europa League and Conference League, it loses Europa from its name next season, will follow the same format, with both expanded to 36 clubs. Anything else? Yes. There has been a change to what is called rebalancing, which is what happens if the UEL or UCL titleholder has qualified domestically. For instance, last season Manchester City won the Champions League but finished in the top 4 in the Premier League, but they didn't require the place reserved for the title holders. That place was allocated to the next league in UEFA's coefficient table, meaning Shakhtar Donetsk didn't have to qualify. But as of next season, rebalancing will be based upon a club's coefficient rather than a league's. UCL titleholder place goes to best individual club coefficient from the Champions Path. This season that would have been Dinamo Zagreb. UEL titleholder place in UCL goes to best individual club coefficient from the either Champions or non-Champions Path. Dinamo Zagreb are still the top ranked, and if both titleholder places were available, the next to benefit would have been Rangers. UECL titleholder place in UEL goes to best individual club coefficient in qualifying. This season, that would be Ajax Amsterdam. Thanks for your watching. Don't forget to click the subscribed button and hit the bell icon for more.